Hey guys, Lex the Grady here. I want to do another update video on my RPG Lite. It has grown a bit. I'm trying to finesse things at this point. I believe the mechanics are set, and there's really nothing more, well, as of now. Of course, this could change in the future, but I don't see anything else to add. I'm still within the one page requirement. However, there's a back page, so technically it is a one page, but it has extended, and I'll show you what I've changed so far. I'll go over everything because I feel like there's been some numerous updates since I did that live preview of it. Now, I'm not going to print this. I'm going to keep it digitally until I decide to produce it myself. Like when I feel it is perfect, I'm going to go down to some print shop and have this actually, print out on good cardstock, laminated. However, I'm going to make it work. So it's still called RPG Lite. For the character creation, you write your character name. You start at level 1. It still has the 3 ability modifiers: strength, dexterity, willpower. You roll a 1d6. 1 through 3 is a 0. 4 through 5 is a +1. 6 is a +2. Now, some changes here, I believe. Attack potential. Your equipped weapon die is your attack potential. Armor grade is your equipped armor die. Health is now, I believe, I don't think I've changed this. Don't quite remember. Roll d6 plus any extra d6 equal to your strength. So if you have, let's say 2, you can roll 3d6, and that is your health. You can have up to 18, or you can have as low as 3. Technically, if you don't get anything on strength, you could have as low as 1. That's how widespread the possibility for health is. So this one is debatable. I felt like just keeping it after my last recorded video, I had it as roll d6 plus strength. And that could be it. And to be honest, I feel like that's what it should be. I don't like the possibility of the player starting out with 18 HP or health. So let's just do that. Roll d6 plus strength, or we could be 8, d6 or 8. I'll keep this one up in the air. Anywho, like I said, this is not perfect. This is not finalized. I will make changes, and there will be spelling errors as we go through this. So this is kind of like a little sweep through for myself, but also an introduction or an update for you guys. Next is what I now call specials. Similar to what Maze Rats had, I believe, as paths. Let me pull the rulebook here. You guys can't see it. I'm recording on the screen itself. I think it's called paths. Starting features. And then, yes, there are 4 paths that you can eventually learn. So mine is called specials. Decide on your starting special. A special grants you an advantage on related actions. You can have up to 4 specials. Then there's background, which is separated from notes. Basically, these both popped out of the notes section right here. Choose a background. This allows you to re-roll a relevant action if the first result was a fail. So that means if your character used to be an orphan and you have street smarts, you're good on survival in the inner city, then any action doing that's related to kind of survival in the inner city, you can re-roll if you're not satisfied with the previous roll, but it has to be a fail. It's a very vague. Backgrounds are vague enough to do that. I don't think it really should grant you an advantage. The specials are what grant you an advantage because that is your present time focus of your quest. That's your focus in that very moment. Your background shapes you as a person, but overall it's very vague. Vaguely justified. Then it's notes. This is just where you put your character's race, age, and appearance. This helps you with role play. Your inventory, you start with a weapon, armor, 3 days of rations, torch, and 3d6 coins. You can hold up to 10 items plus strength. This did change a bit, and I'll show you guys why in a sec once we get to the next page. So I basically also changed how spell casting works. You notice that spells are gone. It's now like Karen with spell books. If you have +2 in will at the start, you're granted a spell book. Here's the dice mechanic, which is about the same. If you encounter a risky action, roll 2d6 plus relevant ability modifier against the DOS to succeed. The DOS hasn't changed. That is practically the same. Anyone who grew up with DOS computers is probably laughing right now. Advantage, your specials give you an advantage. Roll 3d6 plus ability modifier. Choose the highest of the two results. Now there is threats. I believe this is either changed or you guys saw it before. Again, I've updated this all day. There's so many things I forgot about. But threats are handled on a dice roll. I know for a fact I shortened this description. Attack defends. Roll 2d6 against DOS. If successful, roll attack to deal damage. If partial, both clash. Take one damage each or some other narrative setback. If you miss, the threat attacks you. Roll your arm to negate incoming damage. So that's the whole entire turn of both sides. That's what I tried to do here compared to D&D or Maze Rats or any other system I've played where you take turns to really go through the combat. I'm trying to really streamline the combat, speed it up. So you roll your dice. You're kind of in control of your own fate at that point. The enemy, the actions of the threat depends on your roll. So your roll dictates both you and the probability of being attacked from the other side, from the threat. That's how I'm trying to make this system work out to be. Ambushing, if you ambush, that is, you roll 3d6 against DOS, choose the highest two results. You can only ambush once against threat. Then there is threat levels, which is basically the enemies themselves, how strong they are, how much of a threat they are. A threat's attack potential is based on their die. Health is two times their attack potential. So I changed it to where the die represents their attack and health. I decided to make increasingly increase the difficulty to where a D4 minion like this would be have 8 HP. And remember, enemies don't have armor. Again, your attack defend roll really kind of dictates if if their armor is successful or not. So they have some kind of fictional, vague armor in play, but it's more so on the roll. Enemies just don't have armor. You do because you're the main character, you're the main player character. You need some gap in being attacked. Thus, that's why this method of rolling against DOS does give you a slight edge over the chance. However, the threshold using DOS makes it a little difficult because there is that partial gap between simply a fail or a critical at all. But like I said before, I do love this system because it gives you a play on narrative. It isn't just a hit or miss. That's it. There is that little middle. There's that middle ground for some kind of complication, even with a success, but with an obvious setback. That's why I like using this system. Then there is the alternatives. These are basically other moves you can do. During threats, you may perform these alternative actions. Cast a spell, which is spellcasting. We'll get to that in a second. Dash, disengage, help, hide, search, use, object, grapple, shove, move 20 feet, 25 feet. I'm still debating this. Those are all similar to D&D. Spellcasting, only characters with 1+ in will can wield a spellbook. To use, roll 2d6 plus will against DOS. If successful, spell is cast. If partial, spell is not as effective, the book catches fire. If a miss, The spell, if missed, the spell misfires, the book disintegrates. Spellbooks can only be used once. After any use, the book disintegrates. Spellbooks take up one item slot. That is the element of Karen that I decided to try in my system using spellbooks. Characters don't wield magic from their hands. Spellbooks have to be held. And this does kind of work in my Shadows of Arcane because my character Clovis has a dark possessed artifact known as the Book of Decay, and it literally possessed him. It is a spell book, though it is much a greater scale compared to just an everyday spell book that we'll get to in a second. Next is healing. A short rest heals D4 plus D4. Um, I always get confused if I should use the one or not, but I'll just keep it as consistent as I can. 1d4. if I spot anything where there's no one, it's just kind of a habit of mine. I might have missed a few of those, but I like to include the one in front, besides the enemies here, because that's their die type. So looks like I got everything. I'm sure I missed one or two. Anyways, long rest is a full heal. Inflicted conditions or inflicted wounds cause -1 damage daily until healed. Here is the next page. I decided to add just very starting tables. Advancing is down here now. We have once you complete a monumental task, you gain a level with one of the following perks. +1 to any ability modifier. Max is 3 if strength also increased inventory. Reroll your health with the amount of d6s equal to your new level. If equal or less than current max health, +1 health. So if you reroll your health with the amount of d6s equal to your new level, then equal or less, you're basically given just a +1. So if you have health of 6, you roll a 4, you're given to a 7. So you're given a 1. Now let me retrace my steps on this one because I don't know if this matches my current health method. 1d6. Let's change that to a d6 just to keep it consistent. So the d6 is kind of the core die for this game, and it's plus strength. So reroll your health with the amount of d6s equal to your new level. So if you're level 2, you roll 2d6s and you can achieve a higher health. Okay, I think that's fine. Creation tables. Use these tables as guidance when creating your characters. Their starting weapons each have a die. There's armor sets, each have a die. There's background specials. Let me make sure these are plural backgrounds. That's also debatable. Spell books, appearances. I'll just keep it as I'll put the plurals in there. Backgrounds, hermit, orphan, soldier, acolyte, hunter, entertainer. Specials, we have all these. They're aspiring warrior, budding beauty mage, cunning tactician, shrewd merchant, ambitious explorer, spiritual seeker. I tried to make them uh, varied, like to have some diversity in the options here. Races: human, elf, dwarf, halfling, gnome, dragonborn is in there too. Appearances: these are just kind of quick little appearances for your character. Then there's 20 spell books. I wanted to give some options, not just 6 spell books. I want to kind of have because this is all the 2 pages. I was trying to decide which table I'm going to have the most options, and I was thinking, yeah, it's gonna be spell books. Then here are the credits for my game, and I have to put in there Karen. Also, I want to be proper on this. There we go. Compatible, like I said before, it's compatible with the Maze Rat's character sheet. Not sure why that's italic. Maybe underline, put this in bold. It's not copyrighted, obviously. You guys are free to, you're free to modify this. I'm not putting anything on it. So there you go. This is my 1 page, quote unquote. It's printed one you can print on both sides. So double paged. But this is my current version of my RPG Lite, hence the name. It's very light on the rules. I try not to be overly descriptive on these sections. Spellcasting is the biggest part because it's something I'll have to work on, but I feel like it's working out. And the other one was I was questioning was the health. Reroll your health with the amount of d6s equal to your new level, each if equal or less than current health, max health, +1 health. And then the special I also add in there +1 special max is 4 because I'm using the Maze Rats sheet where there's those 4 little ribbons below the stats. But either way, I hope you guys like this. And the background obviously it's just a watermark. I put it in there for flair. I can disable it for black and white print. But this is what I'll be using for my Shadows of Arcane, like the last episode. Last episode I was playing with a simplified version of this, my earlier alpha version. But this is it. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.